Good morning. So, today, I figured I would change it up a little bit. Wear a shirt for one. Somebody had gave me some good insight on to say that this experiment that I'm doing with these videos evolves into something that becomes like a passive income or even a stabilizing income or podcast or whatever, or I'm talking to people in person. I can't have my shirt off and be vaping and all that stuff. And I agree with him, and that's why I started these videos, these initial videos, so that I could get some insight. Um, I've been thinking about some of the things that I had said in a previous video to some of my friends that were still struggling, um, because they're in the midst of using, and and it's easy for me to be able to kind of be like an authoritative or like very direct towards them because, and this goes with yesterday, like when I said, switch back to the prison mentality, I didn't realize myself that that's what I had just done, which was kind of triggering for me. And when I watched the video, I could tell that I had switched back as if I was, you know, talking to, you know, in prison. I was used to telling people what to do. So, and a lot of them were youngsters or whatnot, and you have to come across a certain way. You can't leave any chance for them to say, "Well, I misunderstood your orders or whatever your directive was." So but I realized that, and this goes with the acting. Like when I said switch back to prison mentality, I switched back to prison mentality, and I've been trying to be very aware of like like what mind state that I switch my mind to, because like your persona, which is a mask. I mean, the word persona is in Latin, it means mask. Um, also carries with it, uh, not only are you putting this mask on, but you're also putting this this vibration out. But the vibration comes from within, so then it alters within, and then it alters the way that my mind will respond to people, like in certain situations or however, you know. And so I would like to touch base back on that, because I thought, well, what if I was in their position? Like, and there's a every truth has a half truth. Everything really corresponds, because I could really honestly say if I was in their position, I'd want someone that I respected to talk to me like that sometimes. But sometimes also I'd want a little more compassion. You know, like I said, I don't sympathize with it, because I feel like when I sympathize with it, like empathy is being able to say like I've never been in that situation, but I can feel for you. I understand. I empathize, but I don't know the situation. I can feel what you're going through. Sympathy is saying, like I'm in the situation. I've been there. I'm doing that, and I can sympathize with you. And I don't like to sympathize, because then it puts me back in that situation where I'm like, okay, well, now I'm in their category. And so that's why I do that. But also, you know, maybe sympathizing isn't bad. See, I'm going through these changes, a lot of changes, if you ain't been able to tell, where I'm really being aware of what I say and what I do, mainly how it affects me, but how it affects you. And because I want to change the energy, right? Like at a base level, I'm not a politician. I don't have I don't want to say I don't have degrees because I have certain degrees, right? Depends on how you look at it. But I put in a lot of studying. I have a lot of certificates and all this stuff. But the my most valuable tool is my experience. And even that being said, really my most valuable tool is that I really love. I really believe in love. I really believe that by just me learning to love myself, that I'm such a powerful being that even on the spiritual and practical, it is altering the reality around me. It alters other people in subtle ways. And they may not feel it at first, but it does. I really believe that I can be in a conversation with somebody and I can I myself my intuition is so high and this is before um one of my main tower moments that brought me to spiritual awakening, but from being in prison, you have to have your intuition gets it's like a superpower. I've had somebody tell me that, like, she was like, your power of observation and intuition is scary, because I have to be able then this is how it started. Well, it started even before then. When you're on the streets, you have to have strong intuition. But prison really heightened it because, you know, depending on where you did your time at, I was doing time where people were getting killed, and also I was involved and affiliated, and I don't have no like people need to hear this. This is part of my story. This is part of my past. When you're, I was responsible for like at times for like 20 or 30 people because at the time I was the highest ranking member of the organization I was in on that yard at that time because things switch. Now I'm not going to say I was a shot caller or anything like that, but I've filled in for the shot caller position before. And you, I have to watch all these men and be and but not only that, any person that comes into the unit, I have to be able to judge that person right away. Intuition. Like I have to be able to go out onto the tier and be able to feel the energy of the whole unit so that I can make judgments accordingly. Like for instance, one day, I could be cool with a member from another gang and another race, and we'd be super cool. And I have some youngsters that are super cool with him because he's young and they clown around or whatever. And then, like these youngsters, they don't pay attention to everything because they just come in. And dude's super cool, but I right away pick stuff up. I know he's been on the phone the last couple of days, and he's been getting a little loud on the phone because he's fighting with his girl. You know what I'm saying? And I could feel his energy start to change. So I have to tell these youngsters, hey, check it out. Today or for the next couple of days, don't fuck with dude. Be cordial, respectful, and keep moving. Well, why? That's my boy. No, listen, bro. You're not paying attention to what's going on. Little things snowball effect. I've seen it happen so many times. I'm talking about and set off the yard, because he just gets off the phone, he finds out his girl's doing this or whatever, get a bad phone call, his family member sick or ill, and then somebody who's normally expecting him to react a certain way towards them, he completely snaps, right? So that's what I'm getting at is I'm trying to kind of justify and also explain my mannerisms, the way I am, right? Some of the things that I picked up along the way have sculpted me as far as my words. And that's really one of the things I really want to touch base on is your words, the things you say. The things you say matter. They carry energy. They're spells, right? There's 26 letters in the alphabet. When you're trying to take those letters and put them together to make an expression of something you're trying to translate that's not through talking, that's on paper, what's it called? You make a word, right? But it's called spelling. You spell the word. Then when you take those words, right, and you string them along in a sentence, that's the sentence. So you cast a spell, and then who reads it, or however it's wrote, is the sentence of the spell. There's so many little tricks and plays when it comes to language and grammar and English, all that stuff. And I can't really delve into it too much because there's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm willing to take the time to learn. And one of those is compassion. Compassion with my words, compassion with my energy. I would I want to apologize to my friends. I wasn't trying to put you on blast. Those those the ones I'm speaking to know I'm speaking to them. I'm just trying to wake you up. I'm trying to show you that there's a better way. You know, like and I've looked into this and I've been thinking about this a lot. There's a whole group of addicts that cannot relate to any other addict. We're like an anomaly when it comes to being addicts, right? Those are the addicts that were also prisoners that are institutionalized. Because you could get an addict, right? That, like, I could relate to you as an addict. You're from the suburbs, whatever. But I really don't relate, right? Because I spent so long in prison. And I noticed that when it comes to peer support, there are a lot of peer support that were addicts, like white suburban addicts. And it don't even have to be white, black, white, whatever. But and they can we can I can understand you on a base level of like because I learned this a long time ago. I'd be like, okay, this person came from a nice home, a nice neighborhood, all this stuff. I came from not any of that. And like, why did they choose to do drugs? And this goes with when I was talking about the river, because there's a root cause, like it and here in North Carolina, and they're getting to this, but it was in Colorado, they had understood that with addiction, it really comes with mental health first. Like, okay, I have an addiction problem, but what's the root cause of that addiction problem, right? It's mental health. But so going back to being able to relate, so now I can relate to them now. Okay, so because people have mental health and all kinds of mental health problems in all kinds of situations, and a lot of it's not even mental health problems. I believe, I believe it's mismanagement of energy, right? Mismanagement of time, and then it's labeled mental health because and I talked about the doctors. Doctors are great. And here's the thing about the doctors. they only do so much of what they can do. They know what I'm talking about is actually a fact, but the part that I'm talking about, you have to do yourself. They can't do that for you. And they know a lot of people don't want to and won't. So so I understand the challenge that doctors go through, especially mental health doctors, especially doctors that are dealing with people with chronic illness. Because I'm sure it's very frustrating for them because they know also anybody who's taken the time to get educated as far as how your body works and the physiological processes going on in your body know that you can alter your body with your thoughts and your emotions, right? Like you can create fight and flight, which creates chemicals, right? You can create chemicals in your body. Like they do a placebo effect. I watched a thing on it, people who had cancer, whatever kind. They gave 15 people five of the real pills and the five other people placebo effects. Well, three out of the five that got the placebo effect, because they thought they were getting it, they started improving because their body is your body is a natural pharmacy. It started producing almost the exact same chemical makeup of the cancer treatment meds that were being given to the five that were not placebo effect, and their body started healing. So that's where miracles come in. That's what they talk about, miracles and stuff. You know, that's Jesus was, he was a beast at it. He knew about vibrations. So much so that that time was not a matter as far as the healing process. He knew how to help people and open them up to that their bodies would instantly heal. Right? And so, you know, in this all everything I talk about, there's gonna be holes in there, of course. And I'm definitely open to like um suggestions and like people being like, okay, look, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for a mentor. Okay. I'm looking for somebody to see these videos and be like, man, this dude's on to something. Or he's in the right direction because they know, right? I'm looking for a mentor, somebody to cultivate me or cultivate me. Right. Like and shape me. Not I don't want to say not spiritually because God's got me, but spirit's been heavily heavily on me about finding and networking and and reaching out. Like, so if you see these videos are timeless. Reach out. I'm willing to do the work. I know I've jumped from it's one of those mornings, like, you know, it's just one of those mornings where my mind is going. And I have to slow down sometimes. Hey bird. And that's spirit right there. Like there's a pattern to the universe, you know. And I've been when it when it comes to trying to pay attention to people and all that and pay attention to myself, I've started noticing, well, the synchronicities started a long time ago. They're so heavily strong in my everyday. Like it becomes to the point where you cannot say that it's just it's just by chance or it would just happen. Like it's beyond that. It's supernatural. Like that's how it is for me. My downloads are supernatural now. Like I literally get communication, and I fully believe this from people who are actually in the 3D now, like that are in tune. There's different like groups and whatever, And I've spent hours on it because I'm like, I want to be a part of something, but I already am a part of something. And this is what I have learned. Most of these groups, like if you've read the Kabbalion or anything on Freemasons, the Illuminati, a lot of this stuff gets the worst kind of press coverage. People don't even really know what it is. They ain't taking the time to really delve deep into what the practice and their principles are and their basis are, the Rosicrucians, or like I've read about the Manichaeans and all this stuff, Um initiation is like really self-initiation, because these some of these groups, they are the light bearers. They hold the torch from generation to generation to generation. And a lot of people, those who are not ready for the understanding, the teacher's not going to speak. You're not going to hear it. And that's worded differently, and that's out of Kabbalah. And it's basically saying those who are ready for the knowledge will receive it when they need to receive it, right? And then it transcends to the teacher will appear when you're ready, when your ears are open to hear. And then it transcends to that when you now are past the adept, the teacher disappears and you embody the teacher. And this is what I'm talking about, the consciousness. And I remember a time where I was going through some things where I was like, felt like I was really being guided. And then I leveled up. And then I felt like, well, where's that guide? Now I'm realizing that I'm a fucking wizard. And I know I say that like that because I try to, put some humor into it, keep my vibrations evenly killed. You're not just stuck on one vibration pattern, right? You have a bunch of them. But I feel like there's a way to really strengthen your aura, and your aura has different colors, right? That's how I see them, because I see people's auras. I see them in color, which color really is like sound and all this stuff. Anyways, I see them in color. And I feel like I can thread in these strong vibrations of like humor, gratitude, love, strength, honor, dignity, ashe. And like I'm trying to build this aura that's like, impeccable. So that way, when the masters of what I'm trying to master come across me, which I very firmly believe they know exactly who I am. They could be anywhere in the world. They just literally, I just watched a thing on, and this is in Texas, they built a Tesla tower, and they are able to transfer electricity through the radio waves anywhere in the world. Right now they're at 750 miles, right? So what I'm saying is it's not going to be electricity that goes through a line. They're using AM, FM band radio, transferring electricity, and you can't see it. Now, they still have to generate the electricity, but they're able to transfer it to a power bank, right? Like, this is real stuff. Some weird Texas town, whatever. But once they get the frequency right, on the right hertz, they will be able to ban the world in free transfer of electricity. Now, the electricity won't be free, but what I'm saying is in the process of getting it, like we go through cables and stuff. So what I'm saying is this: they have to do studies to make sure that it's safe for people, right? So their biggest goal was to make sure it wasn't like radio waves or microwaves, all this stuff, to not affect people. So they had to study the human body and see what kind of vibrations we're putting out, right? So that it could be on a vibration that does not harm our structure. So what I'm saying is, if thought is energy, right, and I can master my mind and be in tune with others on that same vibration pattern, let's say in Africa, that means that we can exchange a transfer of thoughts. You don't have to believe it. I know it's real. I know. That's why I'm so hungry for knowledge and understanding and self improvement. I want my body, like, I know that I am capable of this and have done it. And all of us can do it. A lot of us do it and don't even realize we're doing it, right? And we could go to examples and whatnot. But to be honest with you, I don't want to go into that. When you're ready for it, the things will come into your life for it. Just like, when the Kabbalion came into my life, it was, you know, for those who are ready, the understanding and the wisdom will be there, and the knowledge, you'll understand it. For those who aren't, if you get the book, it's just words on a page with any